French word. So if you relate to French, it'll show you what that vowel is. If you relate to German, the article der, der, is the German equivalent. Italian, it shows that in meno means more. Okay? Oh no, it's più. Meno means less.
Yeah.
And that gives a Spanish equivalent.
Who's the author?
So the author is Anna. Yeah, you can take a picture of it. Anna Wendland. Yes. But this is the best thing about this book, guys, is this. If you're not sure French, German, or whatever, go to the bottom, and it has a listening lab online. And an expert will give you the vowel. And this is true of, wait 1 second, this is true of all the IPA you need in here. I'm not going to talk about consonants at this point. I just want to talk about vowels, because the essence of singing is vowels, right? I mean, we do want to understand the language and the words, but really the beauty of singing is the vowel. And that's why this is so important.
Bottom A, did you talk about
I didn't. Thank you. When you say father, that's neither tongue nor lips, it's a neutral. So father is not involving the lips or the tongue to finish the vowel. And that's true of any A vowel, because you also have the brighter French A, larme, if you say soul. We don't say larme. That'd be weird in French, right?
Yeah.
So for your convenience, I took every vowel, the tongue, I did no mixed vowels. I did the tongue and the lip vowels, no mix. So you take a picture of that. But, I mean, this is a great investment. And I don't want people to think that that we're going to do this in like 1 year. This is going to happen over the years as we develop as a course. And the bonus of this is IPA transfers to all the languages, and you don't have to memorize the rules of that language or the exceptions of the language, because I'll do that. That's my work, and I'll make a mistake here and there, but it happens. But when you see the final, if you take out your French, that's the final thing I'm going to give you, is I'll give you the syllabification, then the IPA, then usually I'll give you a word-for-word translation, like I will in the Latin one I'm going to give you next week. And then I'll give you down a poetic translation. Why would I give you a word-for-word translation of Latin, French, German, whatever?
Interesting.
It is interesting, but there's a purpose for it.
There's an cognitive mode when we actually get the ideation for the meaning of the words, and you fall
On certain beats, right?
If you have.
Exactly, Jeff. I'm going to repeat what he's basically saying. Is when you know the important words and where they fall in the phrase or the beat, it's going to shape the phrase. See? But when you sometimes look at French, German, Italian, or whatever, and you say it literally, it doesn't make sense sometimes because of the way the sentence is formed for us, for English. So if there's a text that's particularly confusing, what I'll do is put a poetic translation underneath, like I'm going to do with the Latin. So, going back, these are now the most important things we're going to deal with today, is when we go into sectionals, is the A, the open O, the U, the E, and the open E. Only those 5 vowels, because they're the only vowels in singing Latin. Okay? Yes?
So when we do warm-ups with vowels, are you starting with open vowels because that's easier to warm up? There's got to be a method to how you do this.
There is. I specifically, when we go E, O,
Yeah.
and we go A to A. No, A to A. So I do use these pure vowels, but I don't use that's kind of weird to me. So
But is there something about you can warm up better if you go from one vowel to the? Is there a kind of step pattern?
Not per se, Betty Sue, but you could do that. Yeah.
Pedantic.
Yeah. And some people do it. I mean, it just depends on, the pedagogy of who taught you, I think, sometimes, and what you've read and what you do and all that kind of stuff. So any questions about this? Yes?
Could you go over the ones you're emphasizing, but instead of saying the name of the sign, with an O, the sound that goes with it?
Okay. So I'll go through this again, the 5 really important ones for today.
Yeah, but the sounds that go with the sign, we can see the sign.
Okay.
But I'm trying to remember the sound that goes with that sign.
I'm going to do it right now for you.
Thank you.
So this is E. B, C, me. Go ahead. B, C, me. Open E. Let, bet, pet. I say that a lot, right? Let, bet, pet. Le. You got it. Like the beginning of the word bought. Now, just for fun, let's go. Go. It's gonna, because you're gonna want to close your lips. That's the thing. Is that when you do this open O, it's sort of like awful. And I'm gonna give you some other words.
Can
from
you
other
say that
languages.
word again for me? Because I don't say it the same way. I say bought.
Oh,
You
of
say
course.
bought, right?
Of course.
I'm trying to listen.
You've got the motherland English.
I'm just trying to listen.
I
You just
know.
said awful.
You have to think of yourself
I'll have to
as
find my
American
own.
in that
Okay.
way. Yeah, and that isn't that funny. That's the example they use in here is bought.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if that's legitimate, but I'll buy it. If you were to say in Italian, volta. If you were saying German, phone, V-O-N, phone. Okay, and other important, we did moon, soon, ooh. You know how I go to correct the tongue position of the oo vowel? I'll say to go, oh, that's the real oo, not oo. Okay? And it's got to be pure. So, oo, ho, e. That's the only thing we're doing. Now, let me just caution you that when we go to split up, one of the things that Americans typically do is when we see in Latin in, we say in excelsis. It's not, it's in excelsis. E. Okay? So watch out for that pitfall especially. Every time you see an Americans, we also tend to darken the A a lot. Like when we say father, I want you to say father. That's a little weird, yeah. I don't want you to go father because that's a different vowel. Father. You got it. Any other questions about just those 5 vowels today? Because I'll keep bringing this out and we'll build the knowledge as we go along.
On the chart, we have lips and an arrow on the right side of it, opening up the lips to those vowels. And you have tongue on the left. What's going on with the tongue?
You know what? I didn't say that, and thank you for bringing up that question. The tongue, this is the highest position for the tongue. If you feel your tongue when you say B, C, me, where's your tongue? It's up in the highest position. Now, if you go to the beginning of the word may, the tongue drops like half position. And if you go to le, it's the lowest position. So this is from the lowest tongue position to the highest tongue position. From the most open lip position to the most closed lip position. Yes, Basie.
What's the last name of the author again?
Let me spell it. Lent. And the publisher is Alfred's. This is, I can't tell you how valuable this is. Because, like I said, you'll be able to go online if you're not sure of the vowel sound, and an expert will do it for you. So it's really worth it. Alrighty, thank you so much for coming today. I really appreciate it. This is fantastic. Oh, you have another question?
Well, I learned to read in Spanish, and what we were citing was a, e, equal.
Yes.
And I just wondered if that would be useful. Americans, it's very short, it's just always a, equal.
I use that with my students in vocalises, yes. Is that what you're asking?
It's the same vowels, but sort of spoken staccatos.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
You know, it was always in that order.
Yeah. Yeah, I've done exercises in that order as well.
What was the question?
If it would be valuable to put in order, I'm sure at one point you've been in a choral group with a choral conductor like myself saying do that. And probably at some point I'll do that to you. So, any other questions? Yes.
For the E1, you said red. Is there another word that would also go in that sound?
When people, I always think of these words, but when people ask me, my mind goes blank. Yes.
The French word. I didn't know if there was an American.
No, there isn't. See, that's the problem, is that, and this will tell you, you were asked with closed E, right? This will tell you, see what they'll do is they'll put NA. Because we really don't have that vowel in English. But as singers, we need to know. Because it is part of some of our vowels, in diphthongs especially. Americans have a lot of diphthongs. Yes.
Can you tell us the E2 again?
E2 is like Italian, meno.
Meno.
Yes, meno. Now here, because they're simplifying this, they won't separate E1 and E2.
Okay.
But E1, the French E, is a higher tongue position than Italian. They put it together here, which quite frankly is okay by me, because if I have 20 people doing a really good, precise E1, it'll come across as an E1. Does that make sense? If people are doing, because they're more comfortable, if they're doing an E2, the E1 will cut through. Any other questions? Yes.
Does this really apply to English as well? I mean, can you as conductor tell if someone has a Midwestern accent?
Oh, yeah.
And so how do you get
Absolutely.
to kind of conform?
I tell them what to do. I say, do this. Well, listen, I'm doing it to you guys. Every time you do an ER word, like mother, I'm modifying an English vowel to sound better. Because no one wants to hear, well, unless you're listening to country music, no one wants to hear mother or father or, And I'm not downing country music, by the way. If you sang country music like I'm teaching choral singing, you'd never get a hit. No one would want to listen to you, because that's part of singing too, is even though I'll give you rules, and the reason why I'm giving you this is because we are going to be singing in many different languages, and you don't want to learn all the rules and all the exceptions to the stuff, and who wants to listen to that? So if I want, and we want, the group to be a beautiful choral sound, then we have to agree on what the vowel is, because that's the essence of singing. Now, the other essence of it is the consonants, because then we hear words, and the words add meaning to the sound. But we're not going to consonants yet. I mean, we are, because I'm giving you them on the IPA sheets, but I don't want you to worry and think like, oh my God, I don't know all this stuff and I'll never get it. You will eventually, at your own pace, whatever that is. So don't worry about it. Now, some of you are are sitting here, I know, that basically already know some of this. And you're like, oh, can we move on? But no, I want to take the whole group en masse. Yes.
I had a conductor, Edgecombe Corral, who would say, consonants will save your life to us, and before every concert, and I've listened to our CDs, and we could really be understood, but he didn't emphasize the vowels at all. Is this consonant business old-fashioned?
Well, you hit on something there. Yes, there are cycles of things. I think that the science now is coming to a point where we're going to have less of those cycles. But yes, there are times when people would say, "Oh, it's all about the consonants," and then you'll get the opposite person saying, like if you listen to Joan Sutherland, the perfect example of someone who has gorgeous vowels, amazing vowels, and horrible diction with the consonants. We used to, at the conservatory, call her, kids. We used to call her mushmouth. So, we were kids, But I think it's equal. This is my philosophy, is that the real essence of beautiful, beautiful singing, bel canto singing, and this is why the bel canto technique came from Italy, because the Italian language essentially is on the vowel all the time. They can't even end with a consonant. They have to put a little vowel at the end, all the time, if you listen to Italians. I occasionally watch the Italian grandma cooking because I like the recipes and stuff, and it cracks me up because if you listen to her, if you go to YouTube and look up Italian grandma, has anyone ever seen her? She's great. She's great. She talks on the vowel. She's olive oilio. She has to end everything on the vowel. But anyway, going back to Italian, it's on the vowel. That's where the bel canto technique came from. That. But as we get into classical and into romanticism, words become more important, more and more important. Look at your French chanson, your Schubert lieder, Debussy for the French. I mean, all the classic vocal literature of those times, classical going into romantic, really emphasize beautiful words and the communication of those words. So I'm of equal value. You can sing something on the vowel and it'll be beautiful, but what's the meaning behind it, right? And perfect example is Direton is Rilke, very famous poet. So why would you sing that song and not try to be understood and to understand for yourself the meaning of it? Yes.
And sometimes I think that it's better if I only sing the vowels so not 5 of us don't sing the wrong consonant. At least someone's saying the consonant first. So I just stop the consonant so that someone else can hear it. I'm going to just conflict with somebody.
I hear you. And I use that device sometimes. Sometimes I'll say, especially with, I don't know what it is, with choral groups, and I got to stop and give you a small break, is like American wet teas. It's like, give me a break. We know it's a T. You don't need to emphasize it. So anyway, you're on break, guys. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
You're welcome.